Hi, I'm Andy Cools from Live Sound Training, and this is a user's guide to the two most important tools at the disposal of a sound engineer, your ears. Your ears are transducers. They convert energy from one form into another. In this case, they convert vibrations in the air into electrical impulses which your brain then interprets. In many ways, they're very similar to microphones, although no microphone exists that can come close to capturing the frequency and dynamic range of your ears. As you can see from this diagram, the ears are divided into three distinct zones: the outer, middle, and inner ear. The thing we typically call the ear is just the visible outer part, a specific arrangement of rich cartilage covered in skin called the pinna. The main purpose of the pinna is to reflect and focus the sound vibrations into the ear canal, a narrow tube that ensures the delicate mechanism of the ear is kept protected inside the skull. The eardrum, as its name suggests, is a membrane which moves much like the skin of a drum in response to sound vibrations, which it then transmits to the middle ear. The middle ear is an air-filled cavity inside the skull containing three small bones called ossicles. The hammer is connected to the eardrum, which in turn is connected to the anvil and then the stirrup. For those who enjoy obscure facts, I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear that the stirrup is the smallest bone in the human body. These three bones work together to amplify and transmit the vibrations from the eardrum to the inner ear. The inner ear contains the cochlea, a liquid-filled coiled tube which contains a long membrane covered in tiny hairs which oscillate in response to specific frequencies and convert vibrations into electrical impulses which travel along the auditory nerve to the brain. So in a sense, ears are just a conversion mechanism. The brain is where the actual hearing happens. Now this is truly a remarkable mechanism. Your ears are always on 24/7 throughout your entire life, monitoring your environment, protecting you from threats, as well as enabling complex levels of vocal communication, not to mention the enjoyment of the myriad subtleties of music. Take a moment to think about the fact that everything I've just described is happening right now inside your head as you listen to me saying these words. So now we know how ears work, the next important question we can ask is, what can go wrong? By far the most common cause of damage is noise-induced hearing loss. This is damage to the mechanism of hearing as a result of exposure to loud sounds. This can result in a loss of perception of a specific band of frequencies, a general impairment of hearing, or hearing a persistent sound when no sound is present, which we call tinnitus. This kind of damage can happen suddenly as a result of exposure to a single high-intensity sound such as a gunshot or an air horn, or gradually over time as a result of persistent exposure to excessive sound levels. The key here is to be aware not only of potentially harmful sound levels, but also of exposure times. Many countries around the world have published guidelines on harmful sound levels, and a measurement of below 85 decibels is generally considered to be safe. Levels of 85 decibels are fine, but only for up to 8 hours. The recommended exposure time then halves for each doubling of the volume levels, in other words, an increase of 3 decibels. You'll see that I've highlighted 94 decibels because this is a useful figure to remember, as the recommended exposure time is 1 hour. If you don't know how loud things are, then get hold of a sound level meter and learn what kind of levels you're regularly exposed to. As a very rough guide, a rock band can average between 90 and 100 decibels with peaks up to 110. So now we understand the risks of excessive sound levels, what can we do to protect our hearing? The obvious solution is to wear earplugs, so let's take a look at the three main types. First is custom molded. These are created by taking a mold of your ears, which are then used to produce earplugs that fit you exactly. They come with a wide range of attenuation levels, and some even feature interchangeable filters. As you would expect, these are the most expensive. Next we have flanged earplugs. Widely available typically as a one-size-fits-all solution, and as a result are much cheaper than custom molded earplugs while still offering a decent level of protection. Then we have memory foam earplugs, the cheapest and most widely available, which tend to be slightly more comfortable than flange ones, meaning they can be worn for longer periods. One thing to be aware of is that not all earplugs attenuate all frequencies evenly. Most tend to roll off the top end. As a general rule, the more expensive they are, the flatter the frequency response is. Therefore, I carry and use different earplugs at different times. If I'm engaged in a task where critical listening is required, such as mixing a live show, I'll start with none and then switch to custom molded to help reduce my exposure time. If I'm packing up after a show and the DJ is cranking out the tunes as loud as the sound system will allow, which is what they all seem to do, then I'll pop foam earplugs in to give me maximum protection and comfort as I move about the stage. It's important to also be aware that risks exist outside of live music venues. I've used earplugs in cinemas, nightclubs, karaoke bars and underground trains. Just because you've got the night off doesn't mean your ears have. Make sure you also learn how to properly insert your earplugs. The ear canal is slightly bent, so using your free hand to lift up your pinner can help ensure a much better fit than just shoving them in. In addition to environmental factors, there are also medical issues which can affect your ears. Like any part of the body, the outer and middle ear are prone to infection, which can result in painful swelling and impairment of function. Thankfully, treatment is straightforward, so see a doctor as soon as you notice an issue, because if your ears don't work, then neither can you. I once had no choice but to do a show when I had an outer ear infection that caused it to swell up so much that I couldn't hear anything in that ear. Somehow I got through the gig, but it wasn't easy, and when I told the band that I managed to mix them with only one working ear, they threatened to only pay me half. A common cause of outer ear infections is dirty earplugs, so it's important to always keep them clean or change them often if they're disposable. If you rely on your ears for work, then you really should get them checked and tested regularly by a professional, as you would any other piece of vital equipment. Thankfully, your ears are resilient, so with proper care they should ensure you a lifetime of good service. If you visit our website, you can download a PDF version of this presentation which goes into greater detail. There's a link on screen and in the information below. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe and check out our other videos. Thank you and goodbye.